everyone, welcome back to But Why Though Reviews, and today we are talking Prey. As always, I'm your editor-in-chief of But Why Though, head of the film and TV section. I'm Kate. I'm here with Aaron.
Hello.
CJ.
Hello.
And Adrian.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm excited to talk about this, y'all, because we're gonna start where we always start, which is, what were your expectations going in? Because for me, I'd seen Predator, but there's so many bad Predator sequels that I was like, fine. And then I saw it was Amber. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Where was everybody at? Starting with Aaron.
I was cautious just because of the same reason. Like, there's been so many Predator sequels, and they've all just been like I love Predator, so I'm always gonna watch it. But I was just, I don't know, cautious. But watching the trailer, there is some optimism that creeps through because you kind of like the elements are there, and if they get this right, it's gonna be awesome. But I was like, I want to see something good. So nervous. I was very nervous.
CJ.
Yeah, The Predator is probably one of my favorite movie monsters, second only to the creature from the Black Lagoon. So I had my fingers crossed. I was like, oh God, please don't let it be as bad as The Predator was. But then more and more stuff rolled in, and then I heard about the setting it during and against the Comanches. I'm like, that's genius. So I was like really interested. The more and more I saw of it, I was like, I'm really excited to see this.
Adrian.
Yeah, so I'm a pretty big Predator fan. I led like the Predator episode back when we did the podcast episode for it. So, there's so much stuff. There's comics, there's movies, there's, animated stuff on YouTube. So there's like a lot of stuff. And like Aaron and CJ both said, we've been hurt by Predator movies in the past. So I had like very like low expectations, but man, I saw the teaser, and I don't watch a lot of teasers or trailers, but that teaser was legit, and I was bought in from the second that teaser hit. So I had like tempered expectations. I was hoping for like kind of like a back to the old, style of Predator instead of kind of what they're doing with like genetic modification and all that craziness. And yeah, so it was tempered expectations, very tempered.
And for those of you who don't know, Prey is set in the Comanche Nation 300 years ago. Prey is a story of a young woman, Naru, a fierce and highly skilled warrior. She has been raised in the shadow of some of the most legendary hunters who roam the Great Plains. So when danger threatens her camp, she sets out to protect her people. The prey she stalks and ultimately confronts turns out to be a highly evolved alien predator with a technically advanced arsenal, resulting in a vicious and terrifying showdown between the two adversaries. Prey stars Amber Mid-Thunder, newcomer Dakota Beavers, Stormy Kip, Michelle Thresh, Julian Black Antelope, and Dane Viergo as the Predator. Yeah, let's do first impressions, y'all. Like when the movie ended, what did you think and what stood out to you? And we'll go reverse. We'll start with Adrian.
Yeah, the picture, like a GIF that I put on Twitter, that's like, Peter clapping, crying at the end. It's so good. Yeah, I was like, this is the Predator that we've been needing, and like should have been at least the third movie. I give the second movie a pass. I like Predator 2, but it should have at least been the third movie in this franchise, and it nailed everything that Predator fans are going to love is in this movie, across different Predator movies and things like that. It's great.
CJ?
That was beautiful. My first thought was like, that was beautiful. My second thought was, God, I wish I could have seen this on the big screen at Comic-Con. That would have been awesome. But yes, it gets back to the roots. It's very well paced and tense, thanks to the masterful Dan Trachtenberg, who worked wonders with Twin Clover Lane. Mid-Thunder is such a great star. And yes, it's just such a great movie. Such a great action horror movie. I loved it.
Aaron?
It was dope. I mean, I was just genuinely shocked. I was looking around at an empty room like, I'm watching this alone, and it's so awesome. Like, just genuinely excited to have witnessed it. And I was just like so thrilled. And again, just shocked that it's taken this long to get. I was like, this is the movie we should have had decades ago. Like, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I was stunned. Like it was good, like great action, great fight choreography, but the story was also really good. And I think that that's something that, like, obviously Predator movies have been missing, but there is a level of brutality and ferocity that comes from the Predator here that you don't necessarily see, that if I feel like has gotten lost in the franchise a bit. So I think even if you're not getting pulled to it because it's like a native story with an all native cast, the Predator rips, man. Like it's no holds bar action and brutality. Like there is a lot of blood and a
There's
lot of pulling things out of their own skin. So let's talk a little bit about Amber in her role as Nora. How do you all think she did as, you know, a action protagonist? Because for me, like I've known her work in Roswell, New Mexico, and The Wheel, which is kind of an indie film, so a lot of drama, and I didn't know she had this in her.
Oh, see, I'd watched her in Legion, and she was excellent in Legion. Yeah. Yeah, she'd been really good in Legion. So, and that's the only thing I'd seen her in. So coming into this, I was like, oh, I think she's definitely got that range to nail this. And she really does. I mean, not to say that she carries the film, but the film's so centered on her that she needed to put in that big performance, and she really does deliver on it.
I genuinely love her performance, how she is, you know, trying to prove that she could be just as great a warrior as others. And then here comes this challenge, only it's from outer space and rips people's bodies out of their skin. So that was nice. I just love that it, you know, showed her, you know, being smart. Because again, a lot of what made the first Predator work was, you know, Schwarzenegger figuring out what this creature can do and figuring out how to beat it. And you see Naru doing the same. And it's really fun to see her not only get the upper hand against the Predator, but other obstacles along the way. And Mid Thunder just does really great. So yeah, she has so much range and she's so great. And I hope to see her more stuff.
Yeah, I'll be on the side where I didn't see her in anything. I knew that she was in all these things, but I didn't watch Legion and I didn't see many of the movies that Kate mentioned. So this is like my first thing, and she killed it. She's probably one of the most badass people I've seen in an action movie in a long time, but definitely in the franchise for sure. You know, yeah. I think I said that Arnold Schwarzenegger is my favorite final girl because he's basically a final girl at the end of Predator. But she takes the cake. She's dope. No fear, just ready and willing and smart. Like CJ said, she's so smart. You know, there's no brute force in her game. It's all her intelligence. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I think for me, that was one of the things I was worried about switching to a female protagonist, because action series tend to do, when they do switch to a female protagonist, it's like, and now she is all of a sudden the strongest among everybody.
You mean like the doctor who outran the Predator in the Predators in Heels?
Yes. And that doesn't have to be the story that you tell, because we see routinely throughout the film, she is a very skilled hunter. Like what she does with her tomahawk, holy crap. Like, and
I kept flinching.
Amber learned all of that. Like they did a 4-week training course on how to throw tomahawks and how to shoot like in the traditional style. And for me, watching her, they did a great job of balancing her strength, but also showcasing that she could be strong in a different way and it still mattered. And what I really loved with the dynamic, specifically with her and her brother, was that dynamic allowed her, you could feel the tension and like the gender tension of like men are hunters, women are medicine women, and that, but her brother never fully buys into that concept. You can tell that it comes from a place of care versus the other guys that he's around who are just like complete sexist dicks. But her brother and her have this relationship, and I think that getting to see it played off of that shows her strengths as being a good fighter, but also being a good strategist. And in the end, that's what you need against the Predator.
Yeah.
You can't, on 1-to-1, you can't win. Like it's an 8-foot tall alien with they spikes.
they buy in. I was bought in super early to like her character, because I think like her mom asked her like 5 minutes into the film, she's like, you know, why do you want to be a hunter? And she's like, because you guys say I can't do it, or something to like that effect. But she delivers it with like such like grit and just like fuck you energy that you just can't help but love her as a character like immediately.
It's an underdog story, right?
Exactly.
Like everyone is against it at some point, like saying you can't do this. And it's I think one of the things I loved early on is I think the mother says, like, you're trying to do this to prove yourself. The hunt is about survival.
Yep.
And like early on, you see that arc and how she kind of learns the hard way going through it. But again, it's that intelligence that she captures the whole way through.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where when you see how the film has positioned itself, like with Prey, like it is one of those where like what I really like is we kind of shift focus from Amber to the predator, and the predator of it all is you see a predator that is, he doesn't have all of the stuff that he usually has because it's an older predator coming down at an earlier time. And
it's a younger predator.
Yeah, younger predator.
Yeah, he's a younger predator. Yeah,
younger predator.
He's bottom rank. He's literally he's literally called Prey. Like that's his rank. Like that's what titled the movie. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just like I'm just protecting us from like the predator YouTube is what I'm trying to protect us from.
This is fair. But like what I really like is as you have her progressing and wanting to be this rank of hunter, and a rank of predator within her Comanche like community, you have the predator who is learning the different hierarchy levels of everything on Earth. And I think that was really beautiful to see. I don't know what you all thought about all those, like the way it contextualized it, but when you go from the snake to the mouse to the wolf to the bear fight, like there's so much beauty and nuance in building up the predator to be something larger than life. CJ, I know you said that he's one of your favorite movie monsters. How did you think that they characterized the predator here?
Oh man, I love that they really tapped into the hunter of it all. Like he is, like you said, Kate, he's stalking animals, learning how predator and prey works, so to speak, and killing anything that's deemed a threat or is finds good sport. And I think that's also reflected in the design, because again, this is not like the teched out predator, no laser guns, no stuff. And actually you do see more like primitive versions of stuff, like the razor net and of course the big wrist bomb, but it's more primal, more feral, and that's even reflected in his mask. It doesn't look like the full shiny mask. It looks more like a bleached skull. I really love that. I really love the thought that went into it. It's like, okay, so if this is a predator from 300 years ago, what would that look like? And we get to see that, and that's really cool. So yeah, they did a wonderful with the predator. I think Dane DeLiggero did a great job portraying this inhuman alien beast, because oh man, this is one of the gnarliest predators I've ever seen.
I know,
He's
Adrian,
awesome.
you also talked, all of you talked about how much you love the predator, so definitely want to hear your thoughts, whereas I'm just like a predator, like.
No, it's great. But I think that's like the coolest thing about like this movie specifically. And I think why it fits so well in this franchise, because we've never seen a predator like this. I think like I might be wrong, but I don't think they even had this rank back, when we recorded this episode. I think they created this rank for the film. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure like that's the case. So we have like something that no one's ever seen before. So we're all like on the same playing field when it comes to like looking at this predator and seeing why he has those things, and it does the things that like the first, and I'd argue the second Predator movie do very well, is just showing you rather than telling you like a long history thing about like what the predator is. So you're seeing this stuff happen. So if you've never even seen a predator movie before, you're going to get what's going on the same way someone back, in the 80s sees the first Predator movie. So I think in that way, they've captured a lot of that magic that's been missing from the later movies, I think.
I think there's a lot more physicality in this Predator and less reliance on that technology. So you can just see like how strong he is, like he just, and the lack of fear, and like he just welcomes. Oh, it almost kind of reminds me of like a battle beast and Invincible. He's just he just wants to fight. He's ready for it, and I love that. Like there was just no holding back on it. I also loved kind of from like a thriller horror perspective how you don't always see the Predator. He's always kind of camouflaged, or he's watching. and that you don't really get to see him until kind of like the very end, and the big reveal and everything. So I just love the way they handled it. Like they really like kind of honored the monster alien of it all. You know what I mean? They really wanted to do right by him.
Yeah. And I think that that's something like, as I think one of the next things that we'd be remiss not to mention is I feel like they honored the predator of it all, and they also honored the native tradition of it all. So Jane Myers, who is Comanche and Blackfoot, she actually was a producer on the film and ran a lot of the authenticity pieces. She was one of the people who made sure that everything worked. And they don't have a lot of information from that time period, but what they did have was fighting techniques, which we see a lot of in the film. And I'm really glad that we get that lower tech predator, because there is a specific scene where Dakota Beavers and Amber Midthunder are fighting together as a brother and sister. And there's archery, there's horseback riding, and there's one-to-one, and like just seeing the agility that you're able to do in one spot with essentially 3 different fighting styles is something that is beautiful. And then also something that is like, yeah, this film is native, not just in the actors, but literally when it comes down to combat as well.
Yeah, and you said they did their all stunts, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like that's perfect.
The choreography for it in that scene is just so perfect, and the filming of it just feels so fluid. Like it's so awesome. That scene.
There's not a lot of jump cuts, which I appreciate, because American directors don't know how to direct anything with jump cuts.
That's what I mean. Dakota Beavers was just like, he was so fast in
getting
to those
man.
scenes. Yeah, it was awesome.
Crazy.
I think one of the other things that I would like to call out too is, while we all watched the English version, the really cool thing that we have with Prey is that it is going to be the first film that offers native indigenous language subtitle or dubbing upon release. So when it comes out August 5th on Hulu, you will be able to watch it in Comanche. The cooler thing is the entire native cast is actually dubbing it themselves. So you will get to hear the native cast speaking Comanche. Now, not all of them are Comanche, but they worked with Jane Myers and linguists to get it right. And I think that that is something that's really important. And while they aren't all Comanche, they are all native, which I think is really exciting to see from a project perspective. And when they kind of discussed why that wasn't what they were doing, they all at a press junket that I attended, it was mainly that because it was such a large audience, they wanted to keep it a large audience and bring a native story on such a highly visible platform. But they wanted to go back and dub it because they did actually, Dakota and Amber both actually did their auditions in Comanche.
Wow.
So I think there's so much here to unpack, that it's a level of representation in genre film that I think we're just now getting, and is just really, really exciting to see. And I'm gonna be honest, it's something where it just feels natural. It doesn't feel like anybody is doing this inauthentically or just trying to tick a box, which is what I was worried about. I was worried that because like the writer and director are 2 white dudes, and I was like, oh, they just wanted to like show natives. But no, like they wanted to show a story that was influenced by the culture and really push towards like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, it's just amazing. I'm gonna let somebody else talk because I've talked a lot here.
I definitely love that was put into, because again, this is a story that features a mostly native cast from a native perspective. So for them to go that extra step and have a Comanche language dub is great, and shows that they're thinking just as much as that element as they are the giant alien monster, and that's really great. I really like that. I really hope more people take notes, because that is a really good way.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it definitely feels like there's a good amount of collaboration that's, gone towards. It's not just like a singular view. It's a lot of people working towards making this product the best it could be. And it definitely shines, as you're watching it.
Yeah, I don't even think it's like even fair to say costuming, because it's not even costuming, right? It's like the set designs and what they're wearing is gorgeous. It's awesome. I think there's like a scene where this mother is walking away like with a child, in
with the carrier.
with the carrier, and it looked awesome. It looked so good because it could have been so easy to not put that in the movie, right? Like that took a lot of time and effort to put that in, and it's such a small thing. So like Aaron said, there's so many small details in here that are lots of love and attention.
I think for me it was the body paints, like each body paint, because you could tell that it all meant something different. And it gave like a whole story just in those small pieces, even the hair too. Because like the fact that it didn't have every single native in braids was like really refreshing, because that's usually all you see. Like, yes, that's a protective hairstyle, but like it was nice to show like the complexity of that, like that there isn't variety. Just one way. Yeah. And I'll be honest, it was just really great to see a variety of skin tones on screen. Like to see beautiful brown folks fighting, like, come on, that's great. So I will say right now, I do want to get into one spoiler light topic as we finish up this recording. So small spoiler, very small spoiler, which we won't tell you what happens to him, but we will tell you they're there. Okay. The French, like they actually do contact, and you actually, like, I was so like, so part of me was like, I don't want anything, just make this Comanche focus, just make this whatever. But then how they incorporated colonizers into the story as just one showcasing as being dumb as hell, like, and just
arrogant,
like nasty and arrogant and awful. Like it worked really well, because I think what they were able to do, for me at least, was they showcased a lot of that anti-Indigenous stereotypes that are still around today being thrown at them, and then giving the colonizers their comeuppance for thinking that way, which I thought was great.
Yes, I really love that. It's just like, it goes to show that despite their claims, white people don't know everything. But yeah. And it also adds more of that authenticity. So
yeah.
I was gonna say, I love how like when they're actually speaking in French, like there's just no translation. Like you're always seeing it from the Comanche perspective of them listening in on these like colonizers and stuff like that, and even to the point where like early on you kind of like see some of the grotesque brutality and kind of what they're doing to the land. It's horrifying.
That was beautiful. Like it was not beautiful, but it was like
it was done. It was done well.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when it came on for me and it said the Great Plains is like 1719 or something like that, and I was like, oh no, there's the white man's going to be here. Yeah. This is the Great Plains in 1719. Oh my God! But they do such a good job, and I think referencing back to like the French treatment of like the land and all of these things, it brings like this weird like reflection, like you kind of mentioned earlier, Kate, of like how the Comanche and this predator still have like this code of like honor, and like these guys are like much worse. Like these guys are the actual bad guys, because this predator, even though he's like a low ranking, dude, he still follows the same, code of ethics. He has to. It's his literal life, and he would never treat the animals the way that the French were treating the animals. That even in itself is a whole other conversation to be had. But they nailed it.
I mean, that's always been the ethos of predators. Like they take the skulls, like their trophies, like they wear them with honor, like to show the battles they've been in.
It's respect towards it, which we see reflected when we see the Comanche hunters coming back, essentially doing the same thing. And it's really interesting to see the two sides. And then like you said, Adrian, the French are just so much worse and irreverent, and I'm happy.
And I'm also glad, because so often we see like the Spaniards and the English, getting like the bad rep for all this stuff, but finally we have the French getting their comeuppance in this colonization stuff going over here. So it was because I did not expect it to be the French, but I guess geography wise, I guess it makes sense, but I didn't expect like all of that stuff to happen. I was hoping that it was like you said, it was going to be like a distant thing where they hadn't made it over there yet, but I'm glad it was included. It brought a nice different flavor to it. Yeah, definitely rounded out the story for sure.
So final things. Do you tell somebody to watch this? And what is your reason why? Aaron, we'll start with you.
Absolutely. This is the sequel we should have gotten a long time ago. It's just fantastic. And at its core, it is just a true Predator story. It's fantastic. It's awesome.
CJ?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Watch it if you're a Predator fan. Watch it if you love action movies. Watch it if you love horror movies. Watch it if you're, have nothing to do on the weekend.
If you got
Yeah, there's
Hulu
so many reasons
already,
to watch
it's
it.
free. Like click
Yeah.
play.
Fire to Hulu. It's a good watch. Yeah.
Adrian?
Yeah, I'm already telling people to watch it already. As soon as the film meant, I texted my uncle, who we go back and forth on Predator stuff all the time, like with the comics and stuff. Like, this movie's dope. You're going to be happy because we've been disappointed by the last one. So I'm already telling people, hey, go as soon as it hits on Hulu, press play, please.
Yeah.
Don't sue me. But I was like, I'll give you my password. Don't. Just kidding, Hulu. I'm not doing that. But if you need it, holla at me because it's that good.
And yeah, same. This is a watch. This is a must watch. Like CJ said, there is something there for sci-fi fans, for action fans, for horror fans, and for Predator fans. And I think that this is it's really a testament for where storytelling can go if you honor both pieces of it. You treat the culture like it's just as important as the legacy of the character that you're taking with. And I think that's what makes it a good sequel or a prequel, because when I tweeted my stuff, I had a whole bunch of like 5-person accounts like tell me that in the prequel.
I was going to say you don't even need to have known any Predator story. This is a perfect jumping off point.
This can be somebody's gateway to it. And
100%.
I think that's amazing.
Absolutely.
It's a solid prequel for this franchise. Yeah. It's like such a good prequel.
And to be honest,
everything.
This is a great way. This is a great way to show somebody if somebody knows nothing about Predator, show it to them.
Like, to be honest, you will probably have a better experience going from Prey to Predator 1 to understanding the power
100%.
and brutality of a Predator than going to like any of like the other recent things.
Yeah.
So, hard agree.
Yeah. So thank y'all for listening. Aaron, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
You can find me at British CPA on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at the But Why Though podcast. You can find all my rating at But Why Though. And if you really want more of me, you can find me in the But Why Though Discord.
CJ?
You can find me on Twitter at CJ Writes Things. You can find my writing on But Why Though, where I covered San Diego Comic-Con and currently covering Fantasia Fest. You can also find my other writing on Collider, IGN, and Slash Film. And I am a co-host on Into the Spidercast Brew Talk All Things Spidey. And again, that's on But Why Though.
Adrian?
You can find me on Twitter at SuperReese93 and on the But Why the website review and stuff. I think more recently for Prey, and then Kate and Nisha and I will be talking about Dragon Ball Superhero. So, be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. And you can find all of our lovely hot takes and opinions on the But Why Though official podcast, which is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everything. And you can find me at OhMyMythRandir on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is a weeb world. You will only get anime and manga. And you can join the conversation over at discord.gg/But Why Though. Come talk Prey with us. Come talk other movies with us. This has been great. Go watch Prey August 5th on Hulu. I will also share my password. No, I won't really. It's very good.